Okay, so still December 14th of 2022. Obviously, I'm moving like a freaking snail here. It's 11:30 a.m., right? Slightly still overstimulated. Now, I had 3 of these, okay? Because I used to do Value Village back in the day, right? Because it was just down the road from me. And I had downstairs, I had upstairs, and then one time I came across one that had the food processing attachments, and it was like, whatever I paid for it, $35 or $40, and so anyway, I had 3 of them. I had 3 daughters. I always thought that some daughter would take it, or one would be downstairs. Anyway, my son didn't want them. Fair enough. Okay, so we know we gave a fully functioning. And this is a good brand, people. Like, seriously, it's an old school model, but they're good, right? So anyway, I gave a fully functioning blender like this that could do with just standard beaters. Where's the beaters? Standard beaters. I don't see them here. They were just here. Anyway, standard beaters plus bread beaters, right? Rhea's bread beaters are a little different than these bread beaters, okay? Either or. Her machine can make bread as well as have a standard beater that does the beating. I have them around here somewhere. I don't know what happened to them. I'm having issues with my eyes right now because I'm going from computer to different light spectrums. Besides that point, and honestly, people, I don't even remember if I put my eye drops in this morning. I don't even remember if I gave Amari his medicine at 9:30 or 10, and now I'm afraid to give him his freaking medicine because doctor at the hospital last time Amari had this just recent seizure, I said to him, like, I didn't give Amari his seizure medicine because it was 1:30 in the morning because we fell asleep, right? And I was just going to carry it over to the next day. He said, no, that's okay. You could have gave it to him. He says, as long as they're like 2 hours apart, right? What's important is you don't miss. But I'm all freaked out. I'm like, because I'm so stressed out with everything, people. I'm like, I don't think I gave it to him this morning, but I can't be 100% sure. And if I give it to him at his regular time at 10:30, when maybe I gave it to him at 9:30, right? Or whatever, that's 1 hour, and oh my God, I can't give it to him. And so I'm just like, I'm so stressed out. Same thing with my eyes this morning. Did I put that goopy shit into my eyes this morning at 8:30? I don't remember, but I'm not going to go goopy up my eyes again right now, that's for sure. I'll just wait until 8 o'clock or so at night. What I need to do is get something. I was looking for something in the dollar store where I could just mark off every day, write the time, just make it simple or something to keep track because it's too much. And then, the sleep cycles throw it off, or next thing you know, I'm in the hospital and no drops and none of this. And okay, so anyway, so talking to Tisha on the phone yesterday, she asked me if I still had the bread machine. And I said, yeah, I have the bread machine. Why? Because she doesn't like these. I tried to offer these appliances to her. They're old. Yeah, well, you see what's happening is Rhea's been taking a lot of this stuff. And she'd been going on to Tisha, oh, geez, I really like using what your mom gave me. And, and I ended up giving my friend something that your mom gave me. And her friend uses whatever I gave Rhea, that Rhea gave to her friend now. She's using it every day. Rhea's using whatever I gave her every day. So everybody's all happy and excited with the things that they're getting from me. And they're using it all the time. I guess Tisha figures she'll jump on that bandwagon. And she asked me if I still had an old bread machine kicking around. And I said, yeah, I do have one, but I'm actually not too sure if it works correctly because I used to have 2 or 3 of them around. I don't know if I have 2 or 3 of them around anymore. I may have just given already some away. I know I have one here, but I'm not too sure if it's fully functional. I said I can't really give it to you yet until I know for sure. Plus, you know, bread machines require their own recipes, so I'd have to look around for recipes for that, right? As if I know where everything is right now. I said, but why? What, you want to make bread? She goes, yeah. And I says, well, you know, why not take this last, because I have my own. I gave one to Rhea. Mine is over there. Plus I have mine from when Brooks was a baby. So I actually have two of these, two different types. And this one I was just gonna, because Tisha didn't want it, so I was gonna just make sure it was working. And when I have my little auction, I was thinking of just putting it up for auction or putting it on Facebook without a bowl. I probably wasn't going to give her provide the bowl, because I like these bowls, especially when I'm working with grease and those kind of things, right? But because Tisha is my daughter, okay, and she's now showing an interest in it because she wants to make bread, I'm going to give her, I lost 2 bowls. I have to give 1 bowl to Rhea at least, and I got to give 1 bowl to Tisha at least, which still leaves me, I think, oh, geez, just a set of bowls from my original one from when Brooks was a baby. But whatever, at least they're functional. And I've got other bowls, so I don't have to be anal about bowls. It will give me an opportunity to bring out other bowls that I have. And then, so I told her, like, this one has the bread. You can make beautiful bread. The only thing is you have to rise it, punch it down, make what you want, and then rise it again. But when it comes to the actual 10 minutes of kneading, you don't need to do any of that, because this will do that for you. And because Rhea has hers now, probably going on about, oh yeah, I really love what your mom gave me, and blah 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 blah. You know, Tisha wants now. So I'm really glad that Tisha's stepping up to the plate and accepting some of my gifts when it comes to quote unquote old appliances. And I decided to give her this size bowl as well, because if you're making whipping cream, you put this in the fridge, you get it nice and cold, you put it there, you have your standard beaters with whipping cream at high speed, you know, you're beating at high speed, and then at some point you start slowly but surely putting in sugar, and then that makes the whipping cream to where you add a little bit of vanilla extract. And yeah, so hold on a minute. So there, now I'm going to look around the house for some bread making books, to which I have plenty of them, trust me. Okay? Didn't cost Tisha nothing. Absolutely nothing. And she'll have a lot of fun with it, because it's a good machine. Right? And I still might even have, I know I have food processing parts for mine, and I gave one that I found for Rhea, and I still might even have 1 or 2 still more kicking around for this machine. I don't know. All I know is they work pretty good. See how nice that looks? That looks really nice, people. And I actually made covers for them. So there's a cover for this kicking around somewhere. See? That's one of them. I've got this one. This one's looser, but this one's tighter, so she's going to put hers, she says, down in the cupboard, so the tighter one would probably be better. But then with it like that, she might like it on the counter yet, so it's hard to say, right? Okay, so we know what's underneath there. It's that mixer with 2 bowls, right? So I got this. She can use the recipe and still knead it and let it rise, and it just gives her different ideas. She is talking about getting a bread machine, but she should try this first, right? But either or, okay, because she said she might buy her own, but that's fine. This is a beautiful book. It's very illustrated, so I thought she'd like this, right? This is for Tisha, okay, so she can learn. It has all kinds of things in here, right? And this is where this blender, this mixer is going to come in handy for her. So, right? You can see how beautiful this is. This is a beautiful book. Right? Look at this. I'd like to keep it, but that's okay. I can barely see it right now, and I've got other ones around the house. And this will inspire her, right? Because she's thinking of one thing once she starts looking and experimenting and trying, right? I really wanted to give her a book like this. You can see. But I don't want to push a book on her, right, too much because, you know. And then I've got this little sticker fun book for SHAMAY. It was just kicking around on the floor. So I'll give that to her. It looks like it's Christmas one. Yeah. It's never been used. So she can have that. So, there you go, Tisha. What do you think? Okay, so I'm getting ready to make some broth. Rich beef broth. For those meatballs, to which I'm still thinking about. So we got some beef knuckle bones, and some beef bone marrow, right? Like these ones have the marrow in it. Okay, so to get it nice and rich, and we got just beef, right? So I'm just 2 of those, and that will give a good, right? So I'm going to put that all in my pot, which is on my floor over there. And I'm going to start stewing it, and then I'm going to, you know, cook it till tomorrow night or whatever. And then what's going to happen is when Tisha, after she's done taking Amari, when she leaves, she can take her brand new mixer with a couple of books, and then I'll clear off, and then I'll start making meatballs. I'm actually thinking of using chickpea flour a little bit, maybe as an agent, binding agent. Or you can actually use applesauce as a binding agent, because you can't use flour, you can't use eggs, but I don't want them falling apart. So I've got apples downstairs, so maybe what I'll do is I'll cook up a couple of apples versus using canned applesauce. I'll make fresh applesauce, and maybe I'll use a little bit of applesauce and a couple tablespoons or so of chickpea flour, which is just chickpeas, right? And maybe I'll use that as a binding agent when I make these meatballs, to which I will brown them. It's going to be a lot of work, people. I'm going to start working on that today, because there's 3 packs, right? And obviously I'm not going to can them today because I want a rich broth to go with them, right? But I will fry them up, get them ready, put them in the fridge, and then let this cook for a day or 2 with a higher heat. I don't want it to spoil on me like the last time. Now, mind you, with those chicken things, right? Now, mind you, the animals ate it. It was fine for them, but it wasn't fine for me. Okay, I think I'm going to have to get a new element for my back burner over there, right? And then, point is we'll get that going and cook it for a day or 2, and till tomorrow anyway, right? And then I'll start frying the meatballs today at some point, after I probably make some applesauce as a binding agent. So hold on. So, what do you think? Still growing. Only I forgot to water them. Water them right now. Oh, there's another one. The one over there. I think some of them are coming to their end, though. Either or, it's still not too bad considering all things. I never did this before. Hold on. Okay. This is December 15th of 2022. And this is Laura Lid. I think December 14th, I think yesterday, she did an interview, and these are doctors. I think they're in the Ontario area. And we're just going to listen for a minute. And then I'm going to say something. Maybe we'll listen a bit more, and then maybe I'm going to say something. And then I'm going to say something again. I'm going to tell you what I think I might do. But before I do that, we're going to listen for a second, okay? This guy's going to start talking first. But before he starts talking, I want you to notice how this eye looks like it's a black eye. Do you see? Okay? It makes me think of that. Black Eye Club. Because I don't necessarily trust this individual here. Because back in the day, when all this crap started with what's been going on in society for the last little while, okay? You know, British Columbia, Canada, with people like her, what's that other individual, Liberty Talk News, those kind of people, right? Their crew. There was a whole group of them. But those two were the main ones in British Columbia, Canada. You know, they were calling out the rallies up by the art center, the art gallery in Vancouver, right? And I never got a chance to go, you know, because it's hard to pack around Amari and keep him in a wheelchair for hours and hours and hours and taking the SkyTrain and also too, I was just, you know, I was watching on the camera, on the video, right? And I was just seeing things in a different kind of way, and just with everything that I've been through with my own daughters and my reasoning around why what is happening with what our governments across the continent and the world are doing to the human cattle, basically, okay? We already know how they're doing it, but nobody's really talking about why they're doing it outside of that New World Order, right? Which I think is a little more involved than that, okay? Because there's a part of me that is way outside the box, in a different dimension, in a different realm, with a different idea of what's standing in front of me when it comes to creatures. Okay? Right? Because I don't think everybody is who they say they are. I think they've either been created in a lab and then released into society to do what they were programmed to do. Whether they're organic, or whether they're strictly mechanical, or whether they're combined, or whether they're of alien DNA. Okay? That's just for everything that's gone on with my family, with the targeting of my family, and just when it started, how it was conducted over a period of years, who was targeted, how they were targeted, and the end result of that targeting, to which now I have 3 dead family members that have no justice, 1 severely injured for life that has no justice, and another grandson who basically has no justice. Well, my other remaining children and grandchildren live in a society where the word justice is basically obsolete. Okay? Right? So, of course, when I come into looking at this stuff, on the surface, it sounds great. It sounds like they're justice warriors. It sounds like they're legit, right? It sounds like they're honorable and ethical and trustworthy. But when I start seeing little clues or little signs that, get my spidey senses going as to how I even came into this game, right? Now that I'm forced to be in it, right? In terms of debauchery that's going on in society within our public union sector and healthcare sector and just whatever sector you come into, with a large majority of these individuals working directly under the government are being employed by the government, but yet the government doesn't want to take absolutely no responsibility for their employees as they try and offload as a distraction and that mind boobery, right? Just so they can continue on with business as usual and carry out with their morbid plan as they put a false face forward, right? So, I guess it's just that being oversensitive, right? I'm just oversensitive, right? And I have an imagination station that still kind of operates at a child level, to where if I was a story writer, I'd probably be pretty good at it. Right? So that's why I see stuff like that, people. Because I remember what happened to SHAMAY. I remember what happened to Uncle John. I remember what happened to Sierra. I know what happened to Amari. I was here what happened to Andre. And so on and so on and so on. Okay? So, I know these things, but I always want to know the why and who. Who did it and why. Right? And I'm pretty sure I got it figured out, but it's so far out of the realm of the current reality, the touch on wood reality, right? That people don't want to hear it because they themselves are, either in denial, or they're oblivious, or they don't want to know because they don't want to accept the truth, or they're afraid to know because then they'd have to accept the truth and deal with the consequences, and they wouldn't want to because of their fear, or they're a part of it, people. And there are other individuals that are a part of what I believe to be true. Okay, but we're dealing with masters of deception, so it's extremely hard to prove it, especially when you've got governments, by any means necessary, whether through their workers or whether the government themselves, as in through MS Team with their mock court proceedings, trying to cover up the truth, okay? So in the meantime, I just noticed that this dude has a black eye. To me, I don't think it's a shadowing, because I know that can happen, because when I do my videos, if I'm on an angle, obviously the light is shining here, depending on where I am, and because of this medication that I'm getting what you call those raccoon eyes, right? The pharmacist told me that, these drops, if I don't get them directly into my eyes, if they start going into my eyelashes and shit like that, I'm going to start looking like a freaking raccoon, okay? Which I'm starting to think that maybe I might be getting some of that. I'm getting huge big bags underneath my eyes because even more so now because of these eye drops that are extremely making me tired, right? Okay, so maybe this guy's got some eye issues. Could very well be just that, or maybe somebody got to him before he did this interview, and that's why he's got to humiliate himself in public by openly going out and doing an interview with a black eye, because that's what the black-eyed gang are forced to do. They get attacked or whatever, infected with something, because that kind of leads, the black eye is an indication of a secondary infection coming in through that viral, I think it's called viral, somebody put something in their eye to get into their system, to recreate, to reestablish, to reset, to who knows, right? Okay. Or maybe he bumped into a door or something, or maybe, I don't think it's the lighting. I mean, it could be, but I just wanted to point that out because I don't necessarily trust Laura Lynn and her spin. I don't. Whether she watches my videos on BitChute doesn't matter, because the woman's never reached out to me, has no inclination to talk about illegal organ harvesting in the province of British Columbia, Canada, because that's too close to home for her. She'll talk about it, interview somebody, and talk about it for China, and make it look like she's so concerned about the Uyghurs and the Chinese people. But when it comes to the black 22-year-old, half black, half white, 22-year-old Canadians that live in her own province, she doesn't care, people. You see, that's the thing. She doesn't care. She doesn't acknowledge it, right? Because she's too high up interviewing all these important people that, could be what they say they are, or maybe there's something else, because there was things that I seen about Laura Lynn when they were doing their rallies out here that I didn't necessarily like, in terms of take off the mask, go a little further, and you might see something that you didn't realize was there. Okay? You see, the thing about these individuals that are lurking and have no desire to be any other way, they're very good at putting on a charade, a facade, right? I'm not saying that's what Laura Lynn is doing, but I don't know. We'll see. I guess time will tell. So in the meantime, I just wanted to explain that to you as to why I'm saying what I'm saying when I'm looking at this dude. Did the black-eyed guys get to him? Because if so, it wouldn't be unusual to have their victims do stuff like this, where they go out in public and have to sport their black eyes, even though that maybe they don't want to. I mean, clearly there's something going on here, because if it was just lighting, there would be a difference, and it's not. It's just isolated to the eye. Okay, so let's carry on. Okay, I'll work on this little video for a bit, and then I'm going to upload it. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you what I think I might do. Okay? But I won't be able to do it on YouTube. Okay? I just won't, people. Because YouTube, right before court, with the province of British Columbia, Canada, and their Honorable Attorney General, they took down 6 of my videos, to which I should go into my court papers, my document list, pull up what those videos were, try and find them, and re-upload them onto BitChute as BitChute exclusives, so that when I get into what I think I might want to do here, we'll have that introduction. Because obviously, whatever it was that I was saying in those 6 videos, they didn't like it. The province of British Columbia, Canada, that is. And our Honorable Attorney General's Office, Public Safety and Solicitor Attorney General Office, and whoever else that wanders those halls, they didn't like it. Right? So they took it off of YouTube. And then they threw everything out at court. as these guys are coming in, going to court, to make it look like they're fighting for fucking justice here. Okay? She'll interview this person, and this person, and a whole other lot of other people. But do you think she'd ever reach out to me? No, she wouldn't, people. She wouldn't. Even though Uncle John was the tip of the iceberg. Even though he was on the block before any of these people showed up. Okay? You understand what I'm saying here? Okay, so let's just listen for a second.
One to the show. Thank you very much for being here. Dr. Trozy, you are truly a hero to us, and I see all of the information that you're putting out there and writing your newsletters, and I'm on that feed, and I always want to know what you're saying, because this is, I'll start with you. How are you doing? It's been a while since we've had you on the show. Uh-oh. Do
you see? He clearly has a black eye.
Your audio.
That is not lighting, people.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Hey, Laura Lynn. Sorry about that.
That's okay, Dr. Trozy.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for having us. Thanks for everything you're doing. It's so refreshing. I really love our real journalists in Canada. You being just right there at the top.
Like, seriously, what is wrong with this man's eye? Okay, that is not lighting, people. This is what I mean. And this is how these Satanists do shit, right? They do it subliminally, right? As they're portraying themselves to be something else that they're not. You understand? That hasn't stopped, okay? That when the federal government in December of 2018 took out the section for witchcraft and sorcery, there was a reason why they did that. Because they knew they were going to be coming in and doing the crap that they're doing now with their witchcraft and sorcery. When I see shit like this, it just, you know, because I've already been a victim to it. My family's already been a victim to it. I mean, look at that. I mean, look, clearly there's something going on here. Okay? That's not lighting.
In that small group.
That's not lighting. And of course, with BitChute, this comes in and hides it. Alright? This is why the government doesn't want me to get my eyesight back. This is why I don't get referrals, people. So that when I see shit like this, I can't point it out to you. If I put it up on BitChute, on YouTube, I'm sorry, depending on what I'm talking about, it's a hit and miss. I could very well get a strike for talking about this, because what'll happen is I'll go in and I'll start talking about something else that will be medical misinformation. And it will be completely ambiguous. They won't tell me exactly what it was that I said wrong. And they'll take down the whole freaking video because they don't want me to point out that, look at this. Clearly there's something wrong. This is not shadowing. What's this? Is that shadowing? Look, his face is all droopy in here. But I don't care about that. What I care about is this.
So thanks for everything you're doing. In terms of how I'm doing, well, like yourself and the good minister that we were just listening to, you know, living in a very bizarre dystopian time. I think for all of us, it's you know, I mean, there's definitely a sad side to what we've been put through for the last few years, what we're up against, but at the same time,
you know, it's like that, feeding you what you want to hear. Telling you what you want to hear, okay? Right? Right? Just to smooth things over, right? To make it look or feel like you have a friend, you know? Versus a foe, okay?
What a great time to be on the right side of history.
I mean, look at his eye.
I'm very proud of the work we're doing. I'm very proud to be...
It doesn't matter how he moves his face.
Michael Alexander, and, you know, really hundreds of doctors across this country who've kept our ethics in science. So, and we're up for the challenges ahead.
Clearly there's something wrong.
That is so wonderful to hear. And I know that it's a very high.
Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. Because as I'm listening to this, okay, I'm going to just, people, you don't need to meet, okay, I'm cooking up broth right now for these meatballs. I got to start frying them up today. I'm going to make meatballs, I think, with this hamburger. And I'm trying to figure out what I can use as a binding agent so that they can stay whole in the jar, right? Apparently you can use applesauce. So I've got some apples downstairs, to which Andre needs to go get me a couple. And I'm going to make a little bit of applesauce. I'm going to use fresh apples, right? I'm going to make some fresh applesauce. And I think I'm going to use just a tad bit of chickpea flour. So I'm going to use applesauce with a tad bit of chickpea flour. Chickpea flour because it's a bean, right? You can't use flour. You can't use breadcrumbs. You can't use eggs. You can't use those things when you're pressure canning something in a jar. Now, and they say you can't pressure can macaroni. Like if you were to make a chicken noodle soup, you can't really pressure macaroni in it with it, but that's not necessarily true because I've made pots of chicken soup and I've allowed a few noodles to pass by and be in the jar. As long as you've only got 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 noodles in the jar, you're good, okay? You can still can your chicken noodle soup, right? But you can't start flouring up your meatballs and because you're gonna get a little bit of, right? So it's just best to try and work around it and not do it, right? And I don't know about using egg as a binding agent, and so anyway, I'm gonna try a little bit of applesauce and a little bit of chickpea flour as I make the mix everything up and then make the meatballs, and then I'm going to fry them, and then we'll just see where I'm at. I might have to put them in the fridge and then start fresh tomorrow, okay? So whether I turn the camera back on for that and just carry on with what I'm doing, or whether because basically what I want to do, what was that? Or whether, I don't have time to do what I kind of want to do, because what's happened here is, now I haven't listened to Laura Lynn for quite a few months. Every now and then I pop in, and so anyway, I was kind of listening to her, with these interviews, listening to this, and then they were coming in with these doctors, I guess, from Ontario, with their black eyes. Don't be surprised, people. It's already documented on the internet. There is such a thing as called the Black-Eyed Club. Right? So, under duress, right? Under duress, okay? They're fighting back. They're telling us what we want to hear, right? To make it look like there's some hope that somebody else is fighting for us. The white hats or whatever, right? They rally the troops and get everybody to make donations to get lawyers and stuff, but yet 3 years later, whatever happened to all that money and what happened to the court? Oh, I know. Apparently, the province of British Columbia, Canada, said that Rocco's lawsuit was frivolous, scandalous, and a waste of the court's time, just like with mine. So, and that it was verbal diarrhea because he wrote so much. Apparently so everything just kind of fell off to the wayside. Why are we not surprised? So it doesn't matter if you come in with $400,000 with a professional lawyer, or if you come in with someone like me, you're still going to get thrown off to the wayside because the whole system is rigged, right? The whole system is rigged. And as I'm listening to this, of course, I already know this, people, okay? So I'm listening, and these guys now are coming up to the plate, I guess in Ontario, or Toronto, or someplace like that, and you know, they're going to, you know, they're trying to go to a tribunal or a lawsuit. They're trying to do something to hold some medical something to account for them being disbarred with their licenses, right? With their losing their medical licenses because they don't agree with what our governments are doing. Pow, right? They don't agree. So they're getting fired. They're losing their licenses. They're being gang stalked. Just the whole 9 yards. So they're fighting back. And they're coming in with the charter. This is what made me turn on the video. Because I was laying down on the couch listening, right? You know, I don't have to sit here and watch. Already seen, but whatever. I'm laying down. Well, I was laying down first, then I was listening, then I came and seen. And because what they're using the charter, chapter 7, which is making me think about Uncle John's original lawsuit, the one with 180 pages that got thrown out of court. Okay? They made me draw a bunch of lines through it first to humiliate and, right, to demote and to mock and just whatever. And even then, there's lying and falsifying their court records and changing things around and coming in with misinformation and ignoring evidence. And so I already know all this stuff, but I'm listening. And then they brought up the charter, chapter 7, because that's where they're basing some of their stuff on when it relates to their patients in terms of their duty of care to the patients. Okay, this is what I so far kind of understand. So I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, that sounds familiar. You know, it's triggering memories in me in regards to Uncle John's lawsuit, right? And I'm laying there and I'm listening and I'm like, okay, you know, Judy, these guys are like recreating the wheel here. You've already been there and done that. And nobody gave a rat's ass about you and Uncle John and everybody else in this house. Okay, so, you know, like, I don't know what makes these guys more important with their story, where Laura Lynn will interview them, but me and my story with my family members who've given up their life and who have sacrificed their lives for nothing, but except for whatever the agenda is, to which we know a lot of it is satanic in nature, with those charlatans running around perpetrating to be the nice guys or gals in positions of power who are abusive. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You already been there, done that. You already quoted that section under the charter. And from my experience, the government will just laugh at them. They're just wasting their time. And I'm like, this is why I'm laying down listening, right? And I'm like, yeah, well, so what? Who cares? Let them waste their time. They'll learn. It's just a matter of time before they'll learn that they're wasting their time, right? And I'm like, yeah, but, you know, what if they're really honorable individuals and, you know, they're giving it their all, right? And, you know, like, you know, what can you do to help? As if anyone would want my help. As if I could even help in the first place. And I'm like, well, you know, you could come up behind them and you could just pull out your old lawsuit, the original, and you could sit there and make some videos and just start reading it from page to page to page to page to page to page. Because in the original, I took the time to write the sections out within the Criminal Code of Canada, or within the Charter, or within, is he okay? Yes. Or within the legislation within the province of British Columbia, Canada, or within the rules and regulations of that legislation in regards to mandates and all that other crap within the province of British Columbia, Canada, section by section by section, and then I wrote out exactly what was in each section so that we didn't have to go into the book and look up the sections just to know what we were talking about. And that's why everything ended up being that thick, right? And I remember clearly marking down the Charter Section 7, to which the government won't give a rat's ass about. So that's why I question this stuff. And it doesn't help when people are coming in with their black eyes. It makes me suspicious when I see shit like that. But besides that point, you know, I already done it. And I know what the response will be when they're done doing what they're doing. More than likely. Right? But I'm thinking, yeah, well, the more people that throw it out there, the more people might catch a clue and will step up to the plate and do the same thing, to where eventually enough of us are doing it to where the government and their employees, including the MLAs, the district representatives that are employed by the constituents that they represent, okay, because they're not gods, they're just employees to the constituents, you know, they're going to have to listen sooner or later before it's too late. But I don't know about if it's going to ever, it's, you know, right? It's all rigged against us, especially if we have individuals feeding us the old okie dokie, making us think that somebody's fighting for us, giving us information that we think we want to hear, so that we put down our guard and let time be that weapon, right? Because somebody else is dealing with it, right? That's why I get suspicious, people. Because if this woman was so sincere about what she's trying to do, why wouldn't she go to the source and go to the tip of the iceberg? Uncle John was the tip of the iceberg. Uncle John was medically kidnapped in 2015 before all this shenanigan shit started. But now it's just out of control. Okay? Because it's too close to home. That's why. And I've already filed legitimate lawsuits. And I've already proven how fake and shallow and untrustworthy our politicians and their parliament buildings and their legislation and everything else that's connected to them is false. Completely false. So whatever she's purporting through all these honorable, what do you call those people? Interviewees? I don't know how I exit out of that, but I did. Just have to touch one thing and everything went gone. You know, it's just so fake. And of course I can't restore anything here. I should be able to restore. It doesn't even want to restore. Oh wait, here we can restore something. Here we go, restore Windows. Okay, so everything came back up. So, basically what I'm saying is it made me think that I should pull up those 6 videos that the government took down because, you know, they're trying to distract away from the truth of others so they can carry on with their lives. So they can carry on with their lies and their deception and get away with false justice isn't the right word, but get away with, what is that called, tyranny? Get away with, I don't know. Anyway, and then it made me think that I need to get the binder out. We'll start with Fraser Health Authority first. And just, I don't care if it takes 10 videos to go through it, people. Because you know, if I start reading, I'll come into something and I'm going to want to do commentary. I'm going to want to talk about it, right? Bring in why I even wrote that in the first place. Maybe where I was in my life, you know, with, you know, what was happening and this and that and how the kids were feeling as I was sitting in the War Room 1 at 4 o'clock in the morning fighting for justice, fighting for Uncle John, okay, fighting for the kids, fighting for even Auntie Joan, who had her IV turned off at the time of her death because they just didn't want her anymore. She was the tip of the iceberg, okay? Everybody knows that when this all started with this crap, a lot of elderly were dying not because of an infection, but because of what was being forced upon them in terms of fudging the numbers. And that's been proven in the UK. That's been proven to have happened in the United States. And people out here have confirmed and acknowledged that worked within the healthcare system. That's what was happening to the elderly out here. But I don't think anybody ever filed a lawsuit for all those old people that were basically snuffed off. Just so that the government could come back in with their pre-recorded live streams, people, with statistics that they couldn't have known about because the recording was made 7 days, 12 days in the past, but were being restreamed. I caught it. I recorded it. YouTube turned around, tweaked their code, and changed it so it got that much harder to prove, to show how it was all rigged and it was one big fat lie. To which, when people look at those videos, they don't know what to say, especially if they're not real true justice warriors. You see, you would think Laura Lynn would jump in on that one. Oh my God, she documented how the government was actually doing this, this, and this, right? You know, right? It needs to be discussed because that's some shady shit. It kind of proves and points in the direction that what we're saying here on my show is true, right? Because it's a form of evidence. But she didn't touch it with a 10-foot pole any more than she didn't touch Uncle John, any more than she didn't touch SHAMAY or anything else when it relates to my family, even though she's probably a 20-minute drive out here from where I live. I mean, what kind of justice warrior is that? Other than maybe, I don't want to say it, media, you know what, right? Or maybe one of those things. Just giving us the old okie dokie. So when she comes in with doctors, quote unquote, with black eyes, trying to feed us the old okie dokie, giving us what we want to hear, it makes me suspicious. Right? And you see, I can still see. So I'm sure the government's mad because I exposed them with their black eye club as they're going from doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor. So, you know, just put in a drop of something after the fact, right? Yeah, okay. We know how it goes. We know why you took out witchery and sorcery from the Criminal Code of Canada in December of 2018. We do. So, I'm like, okay, well, if you start reading that whole lawsuit in whole, whether you make commentary or not, and it ends up taking 15 videos just to get through it, well, I guess that will be 15 BitChute exclusive videos. Because it's going to put these people in their place. Because Uncle John was the tip of the iceberg. He was the leader. He is the leader. He was the first one that stepped up to the plate and had me and the rest of his family telling his story. And he was fighting, and we were all fighting, and I'm still fighting for justice, okay? Not only for Uncle John, but for everybody else that fell through the cracks like him, people, and who will continue to fall through the cracks like him, because we've got the Black Eye Club up in front, just like with that Rocco, right? Oh, we're going to do this, and oh, we're going to do this, and this, and this, and then you're going to find out 2 years will go by, and nothing will change, and they'll still be talking about the Charter Section 7, to which the government, at the end of the day, I don't care what government it is, mocks it. Because the legislation, when it comes to the public, immediately becomes obsolete. It's only written and used, it's only written for and used for to attack the public. And obviously as a charade. When you getting up with the big wigs, black eyes and all, okay? Right? How is it that their story becomes more important than what has happened to my family and our story in terms of Uncle John and SHAMAY, right? How is it this Laura Lynn can interview all these people all over the place, but continues to bypass my family? Because she's not all what she says she is. That's why, people. Because I've already documented it. I've already legitimized it. My family's already paid the price for it. In terms of their lives were sacrificed and robbed from them by the very people that say, let me help you. So I'm going to end it there. Yeah, she puts everybody first and her neighbors last.
Over to our Rumble channel, our BitChute channel. You can go to Odyssey. You can go to Twitter. Twitter is a live feed. Go to my channel at Laura Lynn TT and watch the rest of the interview. But we want to respect YouTube's rules right now, and sometimes they don't like all the things that we put out. So we're going to let them go, and we hope that you'll follow us over to the other channels. If I could then go to Michael Alexander, thank you for being here today. Maybe you could help to educate us on what is going on with the Ontario doctors and this. Oh, he's gone for some reason? Oh, okay. All right, we'll wait.
Okay, so I'm going to end this video now, right? Okay, you know what to do, okay, people? You know, these videos I enjoy doing, but I don't know. I think I do need to read that that lawsuit from page to page. I don't care if it's 180 pages. I don't care if it takes 20 minutes, 20 videos at 2 hours of video, and I'm going to upload them on BitChute. Okay, that's what I'm going to start working on here. Because all this stuff, I mean, what does it do? It gets me gang stalked. Right? It's just something for people to hold against me. Okay? You know, right? Okay? You've seen enough to know what you need to do for your family to build in food security. Okay?